So what's the purpose of this piece? Mandy Martin is an environmentalist, has been very engaged with Indigenous land rights, has also looked into gold mining, coal mining, and how modern day Australians, I guess, are using our land and destroying our land for our own personal gain. She came down to Latrobe Valley and stayed here for a while and created a number of paintings based around Loy Yang Power Station and looked at all of our coal mines and open cuts. So her purpose is very much to show the destruction of our land, and for this artwork and a few like it, how Latrobe Valley has used its resources to fund electricity. So how does Martin use her style and technique to show her displeasure of this abuse of our land rights? So firstly, the style is what I think is expressionist, very thick paint, very bold colours, both aspects that are defining of expressionism. Expressionists also use their colour to display their emotions. They're very emotionally driven in their art, and so this one, with such bold colours and expressive brushstrokes, is a really expressionist style. She was also quite moved by the Romanticist landscape painters, so her technique and style is on big, large landscape paintings, just like the Romanticists like Turner. With technique, always important to look at the size of the artwork. This one is a good 2.5 metres wide and about 1 metre tall, so a very large piece. It again is done with oil on linen, so similar to canvas. Linen's a finer material, more absorption, but again should really look at that material. The technique, you can see, so let's move these down so we can see it a bit bigger. Real thick paint, so almost impasto style paint getting slapped onto the canvas. You can never really see it through a reproduction, but the thickness, the texture is really important to how Mandy Martin wants to portray the landscape. With that texture, it's probably the same as when you look at the technique, with Turner using the wispy, wide brushstrokes in the sky to create that sense of air and space. Martin uses a real thick, cluggy paint that sits on top of the canvas, and it's almost suffocating how thick all the clouds are in the sky. So where Turner creates that real wispiness, Martin creates the exact opposite: thick, textured brushstrokes and paint for her sky. Movement's one area that is common to both Turner and Martin. Turner creates that wispy energy that rolls around a big vortex. Martin's movement is very slow and sluggish. The smoke stacks slowly, the smoke is just drifting through the air to give that impression of some kind of air running through the sky. It drifts in and out with the angles that it's on, never really settling, and really helps us to find that smoke that's filling up the air. Complemented aesthetically, I guess, by the normal lines going up, and obviously this comes into shape as well, but you've also got these diagonals that also run through, creating a sense of movement, or maybe trying to counterbalance that directional pull of the clouds going across, providing some stability for the art piece. Colour really important in this piece. Again, I'd say Martin is trying to remember to detract from what this ground is doing to the environment, and she's able to do it mostly with the sky. I've talked about the sky a lot, the clouds. the thick clugginess really does draw you. As much as it's not the focal point, it's also something that we are drawn to through its texture. Those grey murky colours, which you can see running through all there's purples, there's greys, musty blues, musty sort of beigeish colours, all running through the sky. Contrasted against these bright colours, the reds, and reds here again, more reds, and you can see those really bright colours, the energetic ones that I talked about with the expressionist style, make a really big contrast towards how grey and murky those clouds are. You can also see the ground. You've got a really pure red dirt, and as well as a pure green for the grassy area as well. Those real earthy natural colours also contrast with the pollution that's going into the sky. Shape is the last element principle that I'll talk about here. Shape again is something that talked about in the Turner work, and it's strong here as well. The organic shape of the mountain, of dirt, the organic shapes of the smoke that's running through the sky really strongly contrasts against these geometric forms that run pretty much through the entire picture. So all the smokestacks, all the buildings lining up in these really geometrically strong shapes, much like how the bridges and the incoming train contrasted against the natural shapes and turners. This is also trying to define the atmosphere that's created. Not much else with that one. So again, we finally get to the summing up stage, where you look, a bit of a broken record now, but you look at the purpose. What was she trying to achieve? And in this case, the destruction of land and the impact it has on the environment. How has her expressionist style supported that, which could possibly mean the colour especially? How has her technique supported it? How do those thick brush strokes, impasto style paint, large scale, and the way all the movements expressed help support her idea of destruction? Obviously wrap up colour, wrap up shape, and conclude. Remembering with the comparison essay, doing everything according to the proper techniques, having an introduction that talks about what you're going to try and achieve over both is important, and then either picking an element or talking about both their style, both their technique as you go down is one way, but you can also talk all of these things about Turner, then all of these things about Martin. Both techniques are fine. There's one more artwork which I'll show you as well. So this is Brown Coal to Oil site, 1990, 1 year after doing Rain, Steam, Speed. Again, pretty much the same size, and like the writing says there, use this image as a further example of how Martin creates her work. As an example, we also see how Martin's use of bold colours to create blah 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 blah. So you're just using this as extra backup. If you want to use it as your primary one, that's fine, they're both very similar. Might even be a better one with the more geometric shape, the almost fauvist colouring patterns to it, and still the same thick texture. So both equally good ones to discuss, and good luck.